Wouldn't you agree that the last 18 months have been absolutely crazy? Not only did the pandemic inject fear into everyone, but everything changed. The way we communicate, where we go, how we meet, how we do business. The list is endless. Let's think about when this all started. There were conference calls. Ugh. Then some suggested Skype. Skype is so 2019. Then Zoom and Teams and other formats came along. These are all great. We started communicating with our immediate groups and teams. But what about the others, the rest of the organization? How do we get messages to everybody? In our last video, we covered how to keep our workforce engaged and what that meant and how some were okay with it and some not. Now let's look at where we are now, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
During one of my one-on-one sessions with my direct supervisor, I voiced my personal struggles with engagement and overall productivity while working remotely. My supervisor encouraged me to continue to stay as connected as possible virtually, even if it meant turning on my video during the larger Zoom meetings or calling into meetings a few minutes early or staying on a few minutes later to get to interact with people beyond the meeting. As with every difficulty, there is an opportunity for a possible solution. I struggled with the idea that because I was just 1 year into my new job and career, I was the only one struggling with settling in and being engaged. During one of my company's all-staff meetings, senior leadership gave opportunities to different people, both seasoned and new staff, to share their remote work experience. It was here that I finally understood that there were commonalities in our struggles, and hearing how others dealt with the stress of remote work got me thinking of the possibilities of managing my personal struggles. This also created different opportunities within the organization to promote more engagement. The most exciting for me has definitely been the body mentorship program within the organization. Through this program, I get to connect with members of the organization I never thought I will get the chance to interact with. I am able to learn from more senior staff members with similar interests and backgrounds as me. I also have the amazing opportunity to interact with and learn from more young professionals with similar career goals. I cannot emphasize how this makes work days and hours more exciting. I have learned so much through this mentorship program, and I feel less and less distant from reality. Work gets done quicker because I'm more engaged and energized through the course of my day. I'm no longer lost on my computer screen, and I finally know who to ask the more challenging questions, and of course, who can send the funniest memes to make my day.
Good communication is integral to overall employee performance. It is important to keep in regular contact with remote employees to increase engagement. According to a recent study conducted by HBR, remote workers hugely value regular communication with their colleagues and management. In fact, according to Expert Market, 28% of employees cite poor communication as the reason for not being able to deliver work on time. In addition, miscommunication costs companies with 100 employees an average of $420,000 per year. A few proven communication strategy tools include virtual face-to-face meetings with platforms such as Skype, Google Hangouts, Microsoft Teams, or Zoom. Investment in fast communication tools such as Slack or Yammer. Building communication skills through training and workshop, having a focus on remote onboarding, and performing extracurricular activities like wellness months or mentorship programs.
As the pandemic has gone on, I've learned that the transition to remote work really is a big deal for some of my employees. They really struggle to stay engaged, particularly the new professionals. I've already built my professional network, so I have a lot of established relationships that I've developed on my way into management. I've also had many years under my belt at this company, so I understand the culture of the office and can lean on my experience to be self-sufficient when working from home or, for that matter, any place. A lot of my staff members, though, particularly the least senior, have complained about not feeling like they quite get the work environment and culture, and they don't have the opportunities to network with me or the rest of the leadership team. Being unmotivated because the job felt more like a dead end than a career. At that point, we really started getting creative because we had to address these concerns and boost morale and engagement. First thing we did was survey our staff to really get to the bottom of the issue. Their responses indicated we needed top-down, transparency. We needed more of that. We needed more informal water cooler type interactions and less constant conference calls. On the heels of these surveys, we started recording updates from the management staff and sent it out. And after further feedback, we converted these into live town hall style meetings where all staff could submit questions anonymously and we can engage as a unified organization. We also began offering monthly networking events where we would implement things like virtual game platforms and do things like trivia night or hire a company to host a digital mixology lesson followed by a virtual cocktail mixer. For our mandatory staff meetings too, to help ward off Zoom fatigue, we began making them brown bag lunches, where we would use one of the popular food delivery services to provide an employee meal for the meeting. Being a manager, you always hope that you're doing the best to create a positive work environment. So to make sure we were on point, we followed up with more employee surveys. And after these resources were provided for our employees, we had staff members coming back to us now saying that they were reinvigorated with passion for the company. They felt happier in their position, more valued, more engaged, and more productive. Getting business done during COVID has been tough, but it has forced us to learn a bunch of new tools.
In times of change at the workplace, surveys can be an incredibly powerful tool for management staff to keep up with employee engagement. Gallup reports that employees that feel strongly that their company acts on the results of surveys are approximately twice as likely to be engaged. Even when employees don't fill out these surveys, they still provide useful information. A Harvard Business Review article indicates that employees at Facebook who fail to participate in their surveys are 2.5 times more likely to leave within 6 months. They also found that when surveys provide an opportunity for open feedback, the majority of respondents will write in criticism or suggestions, indicating that they want to be heard. Implementing this tool during a big shift can provide organizations the knowledge they need to adjust most appropriately to fit the new and evolving needs of their staff and to keep them motivated. COVID has forced us to look at a host of different tools. As face-to-face opens back up, we can keep some of these tools to be more efficient in our organization. All of the tools work. Like all tools, though, some are better than others. Some will have to be adapted to fit an organization. But as management, isn't that what we do? Find the tools that make our groups more efficient, more productive, and the workplace more attractive to our employees.